This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel Strat-O-Matic Baseball Excel Game of the Week.
Welcome back, baseball fans. The 1979-82 Fall League. We got another wild card game in the National League. The number 5 seed New York Mets at the number 4 seed Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies, hosting this game, had a chance in their last series of the year against Atlanta to clinch a bye in this playoffs, possible even top seed. And they struggled at the end. They lost 4 out of 5. Meanwhile, the Mets were on the outside looking into the playoffs, and they got hot at the end. And they slipped in 3 games over 500 to get the 5 seed. So we have the Mets and the Phillies from their own division. We'll take a look at that, might as well, and see how close it became. So there it is. So this was a Philly team that was running away with things for a while. And you saw even the Braves. We saw them in a play-in game that they lost. They finished at 500, and of course the Mets are 3 over. And the Phillies kind of stumbled their way to 18-11. They were 17-10. They were challenging the Reds for the top seed and challenging Houston as well. And it all kind of folded up when they lost 4 out of 5. So you have to settle for playing in this divisional round against a divisional foe who they played 8 games this year. Oh. Get that result again here for you. First time around, Mets won 3 games to 2. Second time around, Phil swept them 3 straight. So that means that that's 5 wins for the Phillies, 3 wins for the Mets, winning the season series. That's pretty much basically the difference in their games backed as well. So, but this is the most important game, the individual game. The Mets, you know, if they win this game, they would have lost 5 out of 9 of the Phillies. And you know what? They would not care, because they would continue to the divisional round of the playoffs. That's what we have up for grabs today, folks. Mets, Phillies from the vet in Philadelphia. The Phillies, 1980 world champs, could see their season end to a Mets team that wasn't even in the playoffs during this timeline. Your starting pitchers for the Mets, their ace, Craig Swan, big year in 79, 14-game winner, 3.30 ERA, 251 innings. No, it's not Tom Seaver, and no, Frank Tanana's not Jerry Koosman, and no, Kevin Cabell's not John Matlack. No, it's a different era for the Mets. They're doing it with bats. And for the Phillies, good news, bad news. Great news, alert news. The great news is it's Steve Carlton on the mound with his brilliant 24-win season of 1980, a 2.34 ERA and 304 innings. The alert news, or the thing that he needs to be known, is that these New York Mets crush left-handed pitching. Wow, so this sets up to be a wild affair here, folks. I'm telling you, you'll probably see me flashing some cards here for these Mets. Hey, boy, this is not no miracle Met offense. This is a high-octane batting average versus left-handed pitching offense. And so the Mets are feeling very cocky as a road dog here. Number 5, number 4, Philadelphia from the Met, the vet, not the Met, the vet, in Philadelphia. Let's get started. Leading off for the Mets, it is Lee Mazzilli. 5'11", second X. Second baseman for the Phillies is Rob Wolfong, makes the play. Batting second is Steve Henderson. 43, left X, off the Carlton card. In left field, it's Greg Gross. 3 left fielder. And he makes the catch. And with 2 outs, it's Hubie Babbling Brooks. 56 is a strikeout. Bottom of 1, it's Lonnie Smith. 67's a K. Pete Rose, by any other name, bounced to third. Rose was on the Mets for the last couple years. We put him there. If you're wondering why we put Rose on the Mets for a couple of years, is that we put him in that big trade with Tom Seaver. He wasn't really in that trade, but we decided to put him in there. Tom Seaver left the Mets to go to the Reds, and Pete Rose left the Reds to go to the Mets. Part of that trade, on my little revision of history, and now he's in Philadelphia on his regular scheduled free agency signing of 79 and all that. Anyway, Gray Gross, 2-6 base hit, and with 2 outs and with a man on base, it's Michael Jack Schmidt. 66 off of Swan is a base hit to right field. Gross will hold at second, and it's the bake sale, Bake McBride. 2-6, let's take a look at Bake McBride's 1980 card. He gets a ring with the Phillies in 80, hitting .309. Led the club in hitting. People forget that. He led the club in hitting. Manny Trio did well. Mike Schmidt, of course, did well. With 9 homers, 10 triples, 33 doubles, and a very good corner defensive outfielder. Big McBride here at single dot, and the Phillies get a run with 2 outs in the first. Runners on the corners for Keith Moreland of Feeling. 2-6, let's take a look at Keith Moreland of Feeling. He woke this morning and the sun was gone. Keith Moreland of Feeling, that famous Boston song. 314 for Keith, 159 at-bats in 1980 as well. No secret, folks, why the Phillies won the World Series when Keith Moreland is not even the best rookie on his own darn team with a 314 average. Because, of course, Lonnie Smith hit .339. So now you see the Phillies are doing what they did in 1980 today. 2-6, double 1-4 is single dot. That'll score another run. Runners are on the corners, still with 2 outs, and it's Rob Wilfong. 310 is a walk. And now you got to deal with Gary Maddox with the bases loaded and 2 outs. 2-8 for Maddox, and he strikes out. Well, the Phils got 2. Left them loaded. 2-0. Top of the second. It's Ray Knight. 410, short X. This is Boa. You can forget it. He's a 187. Joel Youngblood. 210, bounce to short. And with 2 outs, it's Jose Morales. 2-6 is a base hit for Jose. And with 2 outs, it's Juan Benitez. He plays center field with his fantastic defense against lefties for this team. Mazzilli plays center versus righties. 1-6 for Benitez is a strikeout. Bottom of 2, Larry Boa. 310, bounce to second. Lonnie Smith, 63. Second X. This is Junior Kennedy, a 3 base hit. With a 2-0 lead, Lonnie Smith's going to take off. And he's going to be, wait a minute, 15. Yep, he's going to be out on a 19. That is, just about everybody's going to be out on a 19, folks. Lonnie Smith thrown out stealing. Probably tripped on his shoelaces there, diving into second base. 2 outs. It's Pete Rose. 6-11, first X. First baseman for the Mets is Dan Meyer, 3-16, another base hit. Phils are getting the base runners. Only got 2 runs, though. Gray Gross. 35 for Gross's, single dot. Now you got to deal with Michael Jack Schmidt. Let's take a look at Schmidt's card before he swings, because the Phils, they kind of want to dot this thing up right here now. Get this application to the divisional series on its way. And one swing can do it with Schmidt, 81, 316, 31 home runs. There was a strike. You wouldn't know it by that. You wouldn't know it hitting 31 home runs in a strike-shortened year, but yeah, he probably would have hit 50. So you got runners in the corners, Rose at third, Gross at first, and here is the pitch to Mike Schmidt. 3-5 is a walk. And Craig Swan is in a load of doo-doo here. He has actually put 9 men on base in an inning and 2/3. It's still just 2-zip. But man, this McBride, if he comes through again, that could be curtains for the Mets here. Bases loaded, 2 outs. The pitch to Bake McBride. 1-7, you saw the McBride card, and he crushes a double. 2-run double with 2 outs. And boy, if Lonnie Smith would have not gotten caught stealing, this game be over. We got second and third, 2 outs, 4-0. Keith Moreland to Feeling. 64 off of Swan, third X. Now, Ray Knight's pretty good. He's a 2E17 third baseman. And he makes the play. Well, not bad again. They leave 2 more men on base. So it's 4-0. Reasonable game. Could have been 8-0. But the Phillies stranded a bunch. Mets, wake up. This is the Phillies. They're ticked off. They feel like they shouldn't have to play the wild card game, but they do. And they don't want to see, the downstairs neighbors who annoy them with the loud music late at night. They don't want to see these Mets, take their spot in the dance in the next round. So 4-0, top of the third. It'll be Dan Meyer. 2-8 for Meyer is triple, 1-2, double the rest, 2 base hit. Junior Kennedy, 1-8 is a bouncer to short. Back up top to Mazzilli. 2-10 for Mazzilli, single 1-13, and he gets a 13. It's a base hit. You got runners in the corners. Being held, this is a stealer, back for Steve Henderson. 65 off of lefty, triple 1-7, double. That's a 2 base hit. Now, Mazzilli down 4. Center field, and you got Gary Maddox out there, but I think you might have to run on his 14. He's going to run on the 14 here, and scores on a 13. Lee Mazzilli senses the urgency and needs to cut this to a 2-run game, and he did. He ran with only 1 out, scoring from first on a double. It's 4-2. Hubie Brooks is a tying run, folks. Here's the pitch to Hubie, battling Brooks. 67 off of lefty, single 1-11. Base hit. These are coming off of lefties' cards. I told you the Mets crush left-handed pitching, but they're doing it off a lefties card. He's supposed to be great. Technically, he's great against lefties, and he's very good against righties, but he's not untouchable. Again, he's probably 33, 34 years old or something like that. Something like that. Anyway, 67, single 1-11 is a base hit. That'll just move Henderson to third. He can't score on that single, so just to line out the rest one. But you got runners in the corners with 1 out. Ray Knight's the batter. You got to hold Hubie Brooks. He's a beast stealer. They don't want to bring it up. They'll play back for a double play, shorten this thing. But they'll hold and play back so that Hubie Brooks doesn't steal second. Here's the pitch to Ray Knight. 38 is ball 4, and the bases are loaded for Joel Youngblood. Let's take a look at him. We showed you Mike Schmidt on the other team, and the Mets boast this guy, Joel Youngblood. And it's like, hey, for 1 year at least. For 1 year, he's just as good as Schmitty here. He's a .350, led all of baseball during the strike, with a .350 batting average. Great defense, of course, for Joel. And he crushes lefties and righties. It doesn't really matter too much. The bases are loaded. They're going to play back, hoping for a Youngblood double play in a 4-2 affair. And here's the pitch. Joel Youngblood. 49 off lefty is a sac fly to left field. It is now 4-3. We have runners at first and second with 2 outs, and it's Jose Morales. 67 off of lefty again. I keep saying that. It's single 1-11. We saw this before. But he misses it and rolls a 14. So 2 out of 3 hit chances off the Carlton card in this inning. And the Mets have cut the lead to 1. Now it's up to Craig Swan to take the momentum and shut the door here on the Phillies in the bottom half of the third, facing the bottom 3 batters. Leading off Rob Wilfong. 2-10, bounce to second. Gary Maddox, 55. This is triple, 1-15, double the rest, and it's a 2 base hit. Now you got Larry Boa. 37 is a sky to center, and with 2 outs, it's the 39 battle Lonnie Smith. 1-2 is a strikeout. Nothing there for the Phillies. It stays 4-3 into the 4th. By the way, if you're wondering about Swan and point of weakness and all that, when it's an early exit, I'm going to need 8 hits and 4 walks, or 10 hits through 3 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hits. I'm going to need at least 3 walks. 1, 2, doesn't quite do it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we'll say if he puts 3 men on in the 4th inning, we'll call that point of weakness. That's sort of how I do it for You know, in my league, I can't really have guys endlessly going to the bullpen for point of weakness. I only have 8-man pitching staffs, folks, so I kind of have to dial it in, be a little conservative. Let's go to the 4th inning. Leading off for the Mets, it'll be Juan Benitez. 33, pops out. Dan Meyer. 2-10, let's take a look at Dan Meyer, former Detroit Tiger and Seattle Mariner, first baseman. Seattle didn't want him anymore because they had Bruce Bochtetti. Meyer became a free agent. Of course, you talked about the Mets losing Pete Rose. Before that, they had Ed Kranepool, John Miller. They lost those guys. So, and Mike Jorgensen's not around. So they went out and signed Dan Meyer in free agency. And 79 Meyer, this is a really nifty card. He's a .278 hitter, has 20 home runs, left-handed batter, A bunter, B hit runner, 14 base runner, B stealer, first baseman, can play third base. What is there not to like about the guy? Yeah, he doesn't put up the eye-popping stats of traditional first baseman, but he is a team player. 210 though, boom, that one is gone deep into the Philadelphia night, and the stunned Steve Carlton has blown a 4-0 lead. 1 out now, 1 in, 4-4, top of 4, batters Junior Kennedy. 2-4 bounce to third, and with 2 outs, back up top, Lee Mazzilli. 1-6 bounce to short. This is what we're seeing here, that, you know, if you really had a right-handed version of Carlton, you may have done better today. You know, but they don't really have that. They got Dick Ruthven, Eric Shelley signed from the Padres, can't pitch on 3 days rest. Ray Burris, Roy Thomas, and Dick Drago in the bullpen. Some combination of those guys probably needs to assist lefty today if the Phils want to advance. Bottom of the 4th, it'll be Pete Rose. 1-6, Sky's the center. Greg Gross, 65. Sky's the center as well. And Mike Schmidt, 49. Second X, but you got Junior Kennedy as a 3E10 at second. He makes the play. And boy, Craig Swan pumping his fist. 5 straight outs for him after a rocky start, and he's sailed past his point of weakness, folks. He can go deep now. He's a starter 7. Lefty's a starter 8. We got a 4-4 game. Looking like a classic coming up for you, folks. Top of the 5th. It'll be Steve Henderson. 54, third X. Schmidt. 1E, I always mix this up. 30 or 1E25? 1E25. He makes the play. Hubie, babbling, Brooks. 2-8, let's take a look at Hubie Brooks's card, folks. I was not joking when I said left-handed pitching, what this team does. And Hubie Brooks and Steve Henderson, both in the year of 1981. If you just threw southpaws all year long, this team's winning the World Series. Hubie, babbling, Brooks hits about .450 against lefties. One of the most amazing hits on a card you're ever going to see in this game. He only hit .307, but it's 78% against righties, where he hits about .285 or so. And that tilts it somehow. Probably it's .275 now I think about it. If he's going to be a .307 hitter with this damage against lefties. Third base, shortstop, and outfielder, and eventually he'll be sent over to the Expos in the middle of the 80s. 2-8 base hit. He's a B stealer. They do have Keith Moreland catching. Bob Boone is on the bench with that cannon arm. If you're going to steal, you better do it sooner or later. And are they going to send? They're going to send him. And it's going to be close. It's a 13, but you got this bad arm of Mr. Moreland. That's a 15, makes it a 12, 1 and 11. He's in there. So Hubie Brooks steals a base. Meanwhile, Bob Boone's in the dugout wincing, knowing he would have gunned that guy down easily. You can do this once you tie the game and have momentum. When you're down 4-zip, they didn't try any of these steals. And now it's a tie game, and now they decided to go for it. And now it takes Ray Knight out of a double play situation. Here's the pitch to Ray Knight. 47 is a K. And with 2 outs, it'll be Joel Youngblood. Can he pick up the runner from second base? 2-9 is a bounce to short. He cannot. 4-4 game. Bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Okay, bottom of the 5th. Electric atmosphere in Philadelphia. It'll be Blake McBride leading off. Fans give him a strong ovation. He has driven in 3 of the 4 runs, 2 for 2. Pitch to McBride. 2-7, bounce to third. Keith Moreland to fielding. 67 is a K. And with 2 outs, it's Rob Wilfong. 59 bounces to second base. So the Phils have basically sent just a couple more batters to the plate in a tie game. That's how you can read this. As we go to the 6th inning, it'll be Jose Morales. 2-5 is a walk. And now you've got center fielder Juan Beniquez. 55 for Juan is short X, and this is Boa. Look out. This is going to be a twin killing. It is. Larry Boa factor. You get Larry Boa on your team, you can put in your World Series application. You have Gold Glove, Bud Harrelson, Mark Belanger. You got a 1E8 at shortstop. Write up that World Series application. Say you want to be in the World Series because you got a 1E8 shortstop, and the commissioner will go, you know what? I see it. I can see it. 1E8 shortstop. I can see that team going to the World Series. 2 outs now, and it's Dan Meyer, who's actually had a better day than McBride with a double and a homer. The pitch to Dan Meyer. 110 is a K. Bottom of the 6th, Gary Maddox. 53, left X. Left fielder is Mazzilli. 2, good range. 2E5 in left. Not an error. It's gone. Larry Boa. 56 off Swan, double 1 base hit. First hit off of Swan in a while. Now he's an ace stealer, and they got Jose Morales catching, and with John Stearns on the bench against a lefty today. So Boa's going to take off. He has stolen second base. Boa's in scoring position for the dangerous Lonnie Smith. 2-6. Let's take a look at Lonnie Smith. All sorts of nicknames. Skates, they called him. Defensively, they called him Navy because when he played left field, it wasn't just a job, it was an adventure. So, yeah, Lonnie Smith probably could have used that batting helmet in the field for safety reasons, maybe some safety goggles as well. But at the plate, boy, he was a terror. Gets rings here in 80 with the Phillies. A couple years later, he's on the Cardinals, gets another ring. I think he gets another ring with the Royals, maybe the Braves. The guy's just littered with World Series rings. Anyway, 2-6, single ... and Lonnie Smith's just giving the Phillies the lead. And you know what he's thinking about? He's thinking about stealing second base. He does on a 10. And the Phillies have got it cooking here in the bottom of the 6th against Swan. Runner at second and 1 out for Pete Rose by any other name. 3-10, flies right. And with 2 outs, it's Greg Gross. 42, pitcher. Well, not bad. Swan cut the bleeding at just the 1 run. Decent start after, well, it's not a quality start by any means at all. But could have been a disaster. It's a 1-run game with 3 frames left. Top of the 7th, lefty has his early mid-game doldrums subsided. Can he stiffen up here in the latter frames? What we shall see. It'll be Junior Kennedy leading off. Juke, as he's fondly known. 6-8 is a walk for Juke. 12 base runner. And you know what? Running for Junior Kennedy, their other second baseman against righties, Jerry Gin Remy. Jerry Remy's going to run as he's an ace stealer. And we're like, are you really going to steal again off of Moreland with Mazzilli? And the answer is, yeah, we are. We don't care. Jerry Remy's going to take off. He's in there on a 6. And these bold Mets have a runner in scoring position with nobody out. Down a run. Remy's a 15 base runner as well. Back up top to Lee Mazzilli. Here's the pitch to Lee. 2-9 for Mazzilli, base hit, dot, and oh my goodness, Jerry Remy just trots home. He just jogs in there. And we got a tie game again. Lefty cannot come through. And now these Philly fans have their hands on their heads going, what do we do if our best guy, Carlton, can't subdue these Mets? Oh my goodness, you really should think of pulling lefty here. This is the case of where I don't know if there's a manager in the sport who would walk out there in the 7th inning and take the ball away from Steve Carlton. And if I do that and the Mets score 10 runs, I'm going to be run off of YouTube by Philadelphia fans. So I would love to take lefty out because you got Steve Henderson, Hubie Brooks, Ray Knight, Joe Youngblood, Jose Morales, Juan Benitez. That is 6 righties in a row who crush lefties. And my options are Roy Thomas and Dick Drago. No, I can't do it. By the way, Lee Mazzilli's now thinking, okay, the game's tied. Lefty's on the rocks. I am not going to steal. I'm feeling comfortable now. Had they pulled lefty with a righty, I might have stolen the base. But no, they're going to let these guys swing away. Mazzilli's at first. There's nobody out. Here's the pitch to Steve Henderson. 4-4 is a K. Lefty battles back. Now you go with Hubie battling Brooks. He's only 2 for 3 today. He's like a 500 hitter. So he's due to get out if you believe in that sort of thing. The pitch to Hubie Brooks. 38, no, he's going to get his 3rd hit of the day. It's single dot. You have first and second. At least you got the single dot enabling a double play. Mazzilli can only advance to second base with 1 out. And with Ray Knight, this is kind of what lefty wants. No stolen base opportunity. Unless you want to steal 3rd with 1 out, which has been known to happen. If he was a double A stealer at second, I'd do it. I'd think about doing it. Single A stealer, nah, I can't do that. Plus it's 5-5. This thing would go 15 innings. This is a classic I'm working on here. First and second, 1 out. It's going to be Ray Knight. Lefty's looking for a double play. Ray Knight's looking to be a New York hero in the night. Here's the pitch to Ray Knight. 56 is a strikeout. That's a point of weakness stop, but lefty hasn't hit it either. He's a starter 8. And with 2 outs, it's Joel Youngblood. The pitch to Joel. 68 is ball 4. And the bases are loaded with 2 outs for Jose Morales. Now I got to start counting this stuff, folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Come on, I put 13 guys on base. Really? When can I ever take lefty out? You know, little aside here, folks, since you're paying rapt attention. 3 years ago, Philadelphia played Boston in the World Series, and I had a Grady Little moment in Fenway Park. The Phillies were up by 3 in the 8th inning, and I let lefty stick around, and Boston's got 4 runs and won the World Series. So that's on my record. Do I do the same thing by leaving lefty in there against Jose Morales? And the answer is yes, I'm going to do it. Lefty is going to battle Jose Morales with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the 7th inning. Has nothing left in the tank. But here is the pitch. 49 is a sky to left field. And, woo, big exhalation here as the Mets, they put 4 men on base, score a run. Could have been a lot worse. But lefty somehow wiggled out of that one. 5-5 classic in the vet between the Mets and Phillies. Stretch time. We are enjoying Universal Love of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. MFSB, Mother, Father, Sister, Brother, 1975 LP. All the great hits. KG, TLC, Sexy. From the band that brought you the Philadelphia Freedom and the song and the Message, Love is the Message was the other big hit. Okay, bottom of the 7th, 5-5 game. Now Craig Swan taken off the hook for a loss. Already given up a lot of runs. Do we go to our bullpen? And I'm thinking, you know what? Swanee, you did fine, but let's start turning stuff around here. Let's bring our lefty in now. We're going to go Pete Falcone. Swan leaves after 6. Starter 7. But the Mets say, you know what? We want to start turning people around. Let Philadelphia be the team that leaves their starter in there too long. We don't want to be that team. So Pete Falcone, New York Met, 1981, his best year. 5-3, 2.56 ERA in 95 innings. Technically, he's better than Craig Swan anyway. Don't know why I wouldn't want to bring him in. He'll come on in the 7th. He does have a couple lefties coming up in this inning. But he'll have to deal, of course, initially with the dangerous Mike Schmidt. 1-5, and you gotta be kidding me. There's nothing you can do on a 1-5 for Mike Schmidt. That thing is hit out into the night. That is gone. It's not like Mike Schmidt hasn't hit 30 home runs for me in a carryover league previously. He has. Mike Schmidt probably, at least in the latter part of this timeline, has hit more home runs than any other player in baseball, at least in my replay that I do here. 1-5 is crushed into the Philadelphia night, and they retake a 6-5 lead off Pete Falcone. And that's going to be a homer off of a lefty, a righty, underhand, softball. It's gone out of the park. Nothing the Mets can really do there. Bate McBride. 410 center X. Center fielder's Benitez, a 1E8. Good luck with that one. That's an out. Keith Moreland, 63, short X. And this is unfortunately Hubie Brooks. Not good defensively. Hubie is a 4E48. But he makes the play. By the way, Moreland's going to exit and Bob Boone's going to take over. And that should put a halt to the base stealing efforts of the Mets. Beyond. Rob Wilfong will stay in and play second base. 1-3. Skies the center field. Larry Herndon will also come in. Good corner defensive outfielder for Gray Gross. So now the Phillies have outstanding defense everywhere, except for Rose, who's a 4. They got 2s at second, 1s at third and short. We got a 1 in center and 2s in the corners. Great Philadelphia defense. Carlton taken off the hook. 8th inning, breaking inning. But you got the bottom half of the lineup here. Benitez, Meyer, and Kennedy. I think we're in a situation where I will allow lefty to put a guy on, and then I'll hook him so he cannot lose. And we'll just have, we got Tug McGraw, and we have 6 outs to get, so we'll play it that way. Top of the 8th. Juan Benitez leads off for the Mets. 32 is a foul to the catcher. Dan Meyer, 2 for 3 with a double homer and a K. The pitch to Dan. 58 off a lefty is a KO with 2 outs. It's unfortunately Jerry Remy who pinch ran and scored, but he doesn't have a hit on his card. This should be interesting. The pitch to Remy. 1-7 is a pop to short. Bottom of the 8th. Falcone will face Maddox Boa. And he'll just continue. He's, tough break. Can't do a lot with that. Falcone will continue. Gary Maddox. 1-7. Let's take a look at the Gary Maddox card of 1979. The defense, folks. He's a 1-2E2 in center field. And you got Boa following him as a 1E7 at shortstop. That's how you win these games, folks. That's how you win playoff games, with impeccable defense. Maddox also hit 281 with 13 home runs. Hits for a better batting average against righties. Power's about the same against lefties. 1-7 is homer 1-10, and that one is gone on a 2. Gary Maddox makes it 7-5. Pete Falcone, unfortunately, gives up taters to begin each inning. That's a really tough break. Off the hitter's card, not a lot you can do with that. Would have done it off of Swan or Reardon or Bear or anybody else. Number 9 hitter, Larry Boa. 66, flies all right. You got Lonnie Smith. 56, short X. Again, the 40-48 shortstop makes the play, though. That's 2 good defensive plays for Hubie Brooks. And with 2 outs, it's Pete Rose. 45, double 1 to 14 is a double. And now you got Herndon. That'll do it. So Falcone leaves after an inning and 2/3. They got to go with their best righty-righty they have, which is either Hausman or Bear or Reardon. I think you might as well just go with Reardon. He's a relief 3 anyway. So Jeff Reardon will come out of the Met bullpen. Reardon in 1980, 8-7, 2.62 ERA in 110 innings. I just don't know how you let this guy get away from the New York Mets. Why in the world did he end up on the Expos? Along with Hubie Brooks, by the way. My goodness, Mets. 8th inning, Jeff Reardon comes in. Will face Larry Herndon with a runner at second and 2 outs. Gotta get this guy. I can't let this guy score and be down by 3. Here's the pitch to Larry Herndon. 2-7 is single 1 to 4. And he rolls a 3. Big break for the Phillies again there. Big hit. Runners on the corners. And you got to deal with Schmidt. Fans are going nuts here for their hero, who gave the Phils the lead in the 7th. He also singled and scored and walked earlier in this game. Got a pitch to him here. Runners on the corners, 2 outs. The pitch to Mike Schmidt. 1-8 is ball 4. And now the bases are loaded for Bake McBride. And now the Mets are in trouble again. You got the bases loaded. You got a lefty in here. Reardon's got to get him out. Unless they got somebody better in the pen than well, Doug Bear gets lefties out. You just got to live and die with your closer, Reardon. We'll find out if this is the Mets' year or not right here, folks. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Here's the pitch to Bake McBride, who's 2 for 4 at this point. 37, that's a K. It's a 2-run game in the 9th. And I think we're just going to go with the bullpen here. We're going to start turning the Mets around, or we're going to go with a righty, Drago, to start the 9th inning, and then we'll finish with McGraw. Dick Drago is coming in for the Phillies with a 2-run lead, 3 outs to get. Right-handed pitcher, though. 10-6, 3.03 ERA in 89 innings with Boston in 1979. One of the bright spots of that Boston bullpen. Dick Drago will face Lee Mazzilli to lead off in the top of the 9th inning. Here is the pitch to Lee Mazzilli. 3-11, skies to center. Now you have Steve Henderson. 49 is second X, but this is Wilfong, a 2E20 at second base. And he kicks the ball. Wow. And Aaron Wilfong. Their backup second baseman is Mickey Klutz, who's terrible. So Wilfong's the best they have, and he just kicked a ground ball. And so now you've got some life. And as a B stealer, Henderson trots down to second base in a 2-run game. That'll take away the double play. You do have John Stearns and Mullenix on the bench, but the hitters that are presently in there are just as good, if not better. Hubie Brooks is having a big day. He's 3 for 4. He doesn't have power against righties, which is one reason why McGraw's not coming in. You definitely don't want him to face a lefty. Matter of fact, where would we bring McGraw in? Probably from Morales and down. I guess we could have Youngblood. It wouldn't matter. But Huey Brooks and Ray Knight crush lefties, so Drago will pitch through to there. Runner at second. 1 out. The pitch to Hubie, battling Brooks. 3-7's a K, and it's all up to Ray Knight. Hero of the 1986 World Series. They got him here in New York. Let's take a look at his card a little sooner than that. We got his 79 Cincinnati card where he hits 318 with 10 home runs. 2E17 at third base. They had Rose. They now have Ray Knight. So clearly they've gotten compensated for Tom Seaver to this point. Now it's up to getting on base to keep the Mets season going. Runner at second, 2 outs. Dick Drago trying to get a save with McGraw seemingly ready in the bullpen. Here's the pitch to Ray Knight. 4-11 off Drago is right X, and this is Bake McBride. He's a 2E4 in right field, and that's how you win playoff games, folks. Defense. The great defense of McBride seals the game. And the Phillies outlast the Mets 7-5. So Carlton was pulled. Of course, he went through 8. Was left in the 7th because of his reputation. Got out of it. But we did pull him before the 9th, recognizing the incredible amount of pitches he had to throw. Reardon got the final out in the 8th inning. Couple unfortunate leadoff homers off of Pete Falcone sullies what was otherwise a nice season for Pete. That's a shame for the Mets. Hate to put the goat horns on Falcone on this one. I really can't. You gotta give the Phillies their flowers, folks. Mike Schmidt, he deserves everything coming his way. MVP. And just too much MVP. Unless you want to intentionally walk the leadoff hitter in the bottom of the 7th inning, there's not a whole lot else you can do. Dick Drago, nice little save in the 9th. He struck out a batter. Lefty gets the win, but again, we knew that the Mets were going to get theirs. We knew that, and they did. But it was just 9 hits to go with the 5 runs. They were all earned. Wasn't a lot of walks, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. So when you look at it, it's 13 base runners for Carlton through 8 innings. Not really bad against a really good Met offense. Reardon came in and gave up a hit and a walk and a K. Fortunately, it didn't damage the Mets any further. Falcone unfortunately has to take the loss, giving up the 2 solo home runs and then a double. And 6 innings and a no decision for Swan. I mean, he settled down after a rough start with 11 hits and 5 runs. And again, this thing really could have gotten away early. Phillies just had enough answers, is what it looks like. Just a slightly better roster, enough answers. Great defense. I mean, they got Boa, a 1-7 at short. The Mets have Hebe Brooks, a 40-48. And their backup shortstop is Rance Mullinax, who's a 3. So, just a little bit too much Philadelphia today. 1019 0108 71559. 71559 4835 4835. That is National League 54-01, the Mets and the Phillies. Take a look at the 2 squads stats. The Mets, they really entertained us this year, but right up till the end, they did a nice job entertaining us. They have a very good team. They should try and run it back, make some a little bit of some improvements on defense, pitching. Our offense looks fantastic, better than it's ever looked, which is a strange thing to say. And the Phillies. Mets and Phillies. That was the 6th victory for the Mets against for the Phillies against the Mets this year. So they improved to 19-12. Phillies are 19-12, and they are going to advance and face the Cincinnati Reds. Oh boy, folks! Phillies are hitting .301, but they got a 4.26 ERA. They got to work on that. The Phillies do. They can't expect to win a World Series with a 4.26 team ERA. McGraw has had a disastrous year, by the way, so it's probably a good thing that Dick Drago finished that one. Of course, Drago's no shakes either. McGraw's given up 13 runs in 12 2/3 innings. Drago 13 in 17 innings, so not much better. Combined, they're 2 wins, 5 losses, and 6 saves. So not really strong in the back end. And lefty, he's 6-2, but his ERA is around 3.5. Mike Schmidt does have 11 homer and 33 RBIs in 31 games. Leading hitter for this team, it could very well be, it's Keith Moreland, 42 for 129. And your Mets finished 15-13. They're hitting .273. They got a 3.78 ERA. Nice little year, really. Reardon had 7 saves. He did a great job when they had the lead. Craig Swan was 4-1. Had another no decision in that game. We're learning about Falcone. Really, Pete Falcone was a win, a loss, and a save. That was his only loss. Gave up 8 runs in 16 innings, so that was pretty average. Not a lot of homers for the Mets. Got some nice batting averages in here. Youngblood was 39 for 113. Craig Henderson was 38 for 109. Steve Henderson at 349 for this team. We'll go over here and see that the Phillies did win. We know that all of the division winners are in the divisional round. We know the Braves lost the play-in game, the Mets lost the wild card game, and Las Vegas lost the wild card game. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in advance. So that means Portland goes to Houston. And folks, the Phillies play the Reds. That'll be fun. Let's see if I can get you some pitching matchups in that one. Let's see what we got going here. So Carlton needs a day off. He'll pitch game 3 of the divisional series, so advantage Cincinnati. It'll be Ray Burris for the Phillies, against Tom Seaver in game 1. Eric Schall, who they got away from San Diego, against Mario Soto in game 2. And then Carlton will face Fred Norman. Dick Ruthin will face Bill Bonham in the divisional round of the playoffs. Wow, folks. Pretty great game. Break up the Phillies after slumping and losing 4 out of 5 to the Braves. They beat the Mets, who showed up and fought as best as they could. Phillies just had a little bit too much. They win the series. They win the wild card game. And we'll see you next time.